Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode. And today I want to talk to you about something that I've been noticing not only in my own clients that I'm working with, but also those of you that are just in my general audience. So maybe you follow me on Instagram, or obviously you listen to the podcast. Maybe you're on my email list. And it's something that has been really coming up in a lot of conversations. And it's that you know that you want to change, but it feels like really hard, unnecessarily hard. Not just like I need more willpower, I need to try harder, but something probably a lot deeper. What if the reason you haven't solved this yet isn't because you don't know what to do, but because staying where you are is actually serving you in some way that you haven't looked at yet? And I know that this sounds confusing and it's probably going to be a little confronting, but in today's episode, we're going to talk about why this happens so you can start to see yourself with some compassion and love, and then you work your way out of keeping yourself stuck. Today, we're going to talk about something called the secondary gain. And I promise you that understanding this is going to help shift how you see yourself and how you go about changing what you have been wanting to change for so long, but you seem to continue to stay stuck in the same cycles. So, what is a secondary gain? By definition, a secondary gain is a hidden psychological, emotional, or social benefit someone receives from maintaining a problem, or in today's episode, a body symptom. And even when it's genuinely causing you distress, keeping you miserable, or keeping you stuck. And here's what I want you to know is that it's not conscious. You're not waking up sabotaging yourself. You're not like, how can I mess this up today? You're also not faking it and you're not making it up. This is your nervous system survival strategy, and it's rooted in your subconscious. And your subconscious lives in your body. And that's why I bring the body into the conversation, not just your physical body, but your emotional body when we are working towards healing your body. So the primary gain is the immediate symptom itself. So I want you to think about how you feel today and the thing that you would like to solve in how you feel today. Maybe it's your exhaustion, maybe it's digestive issues, maybe it's hormonal imbalances, maybe it's you not taking the action that you want to take, fueling yourself better, moving your body consistently, managing your stress. That's what you experience on the surface. This is what we're calling the primary gain. The secondary gain is what you unconsciously get for having that symptom. So the secondary gain is what you get from feeling exhausted. It's what you get for having bloating. It's what you get for not taking consistent action. It's the perception of safety by staying where you are. And I know it's like, why would I do that? It doesn't make sense. And yeah, with our conscious mind, it doesn't make sense, but it makes complete sense to our subconscious mind, AKA our body that is trying to keep us safe. Your body and your subconscious mind learned things a long time ago when we were little girls that your conscious mind might not even remember. And it's things like putting yourself first is selfish. So I remember, I'm using my conscious mind so that I can help create this episode, but I have subconscious things that I'm not aware of that I do, right? And that I too am aware of, but I can't actually speak of them yet. So I'm going to use this example. I remember in my 20s, I was at my grandma's for dinner, Sunday dinner, and she has a huge family. We have a huge family. There's lots of people there. I mean, 30, 40, 50 people probably with all the grandkids. And the woman was like 75 years old, made the entire dinner and made sure everyone was eating before she would sit down and feed herself. Now, this was one example, but I saw her do this all of my years growing up. And I didn't actually realize what was happening until I was in my 20s. And I would be like, grandma, sit down and eat. Like, we're fine. And the thing is, like, my grandma saw her mom do that and probably saw her grandma do that. And I saw my mom do that. I saw my aunts do that. I saw this shown to me that putting yourself first is selfish. And there's lots of different ways that we see this in our world today as well, even if it's not just grandma at Sunday dinner. And so I watched this as a little girl. And so that conditioned me and my body to make sure that other people were always taken care of. And especially when it comes to eating and fueling your body, that other people were fed before I was fed. And I also want you to take this example because I'm going to also talk to business owners in this episode as well. And when it comes to owning a business, that's going to come with some money issues and the management and the receiving of money. And I want you to also take this comparison of food fueling our body, putting that energy into our body is also very similar to the energy of money. And when we look at, if we want to take this a little bit deeper, is that if we look at our ancestors hundreds of years ago, those bodies of our ancestors, food was what money is to us today. But we have our ancestors' bodies. And look at how we treat food and also look at how we treat money. It's often very similar. I'm not going to sit down and fuel myself until everyone around me is well taken care of. So I'm not actually giving my physical body any energy. And how might you be doing that if you are creating a business and or you're working in a higher level career, or there's something that you're trying to work towards that might have a money connection that you're not willing to bring in that money because you don't feel that everyone else is taken care of or has what they need. And so then we don't accept and receive that money either. So I want you to see this connection on that. The secondary gain in this circumstance is that I can't have unless others are well taken care of first. We might also have some conditioning from our subconscious mind that being successful might mean that others will leave you, especially if you were growing up and maybe your household didn't see themselves as what we'll call successful in whatever you want to think about success is today. But you want that level of success. But those in your household maybe had a story that highly successful or people who had money or were rich or were wealthy had something that you didn't have, that you weren't able to access, and or were bad people, that they used money in a bad way and that they were somehow wrong because they were quote unquote successful in whatever way that you see that is. And so if we have that story in our body, we're going to keep ourselves from bringing in that success because we don't want our loved ones to leave us, because we fear that if I am successful and I do have these things, then I'm going to lose those that I love. Also, being visible isn't safe. So if you are finding that you're not taking action moving forward in whatever way this might be eating healthier foods. This might be taking time to manage your stress and regulate your nervous system. This might be taking the time to work out your body and do actual workouts and strength training or going for a walk. It might be putting yourself first. It might be being visible in your business so that you can bring in more business. And by being visible, by taking action, it always puts us into an area where we're able to be seen. So action probably means being seen. And if being seen doesn't make your body feel safe, your body's going to make sure that you don't do the things to make sure that you are being seen. So I can think about back in elementary school, I was painfully shy. I was so shy. I had one friend for most of my elementary, and I didn't want other friends because I was terrified that I would be seen and that they wouldn't like me and that they would reject me. And also, some of this also comes from I switched schools as a third grader. And that entire experience, I think, was rather traumatic for me, even though in the time it maybe didn't seem like it. But I went to a new school and it was very apparent that I was weird and that I didn't have any friends and that nobody wanted to be friends with me. And also that I was made fun of a lot as a little girl in elementary school. And so that conditioned me to not be seen. Right? Being seen means people are going to be mean to you. Being seen means that people are going to point out certain things about you that they don't like or that are wrong, and that I'm going to know that there are things that are wrong about me. And so being visible can definitely trigger a feeling of not feeling safe. And so, of course, if that is living in your subconscious, you're not going to do things that make you visible. That means any sort of action, right? Whether in your day-to-day life of advancing in your career or doing something amazing with your family or doing something amazing with your body makes you more apt to be visible. And many times we will keep ourselves from doing that because we don't want to be seen. And that your needs don't matter if you're ill or if you're sick enough or if you feel bad enough. So if you're walking around constantly exhausted, that might be a reason why you get to rest. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. And then also, that rest has to be earned through hustling or suffering, right? We don't get to actually take a break until everything is done. We don't get to have time for ourselves until everything is checked off the list. We don't get to have unless XYZ. And that's keeping us from ever having XYZ, which is rest, energy, feeling taken care of, feeling restored, having resilience in our body. We don't get to have it unless XYZ. And also, we make sure that XYZ is not ever actually attainable. Remember, as I talk through this, these are not things that your subconscious mind is thinking or trying to find a way to make this make sense, because it doesn't make sense to our conscious mind. But these are beliefs that your body is holding you, stories that your subconscious mind is protecting you with. So let's talk about the exhaustion protection. What if your exhaustion is protecting you from having to show up fully in your business or your life? Think about it. When you're exhausted, no one asks you why you're not doing more. Your body gives you a socially acceptable reason to say no, to skip events, to not start the business, to not scale the business, to not show up fully. And without the exhaustion, what we end up having to do is set boundaries deliberately. With the exhaustion, we get a boundary that we don't actually have to put any energy in towards. That boundary just gets to be there because exhaustion gets to be the boundary. It gets to be the reason why I choose not to do the XYZ. But if I'm not exhausted anymore and I want a boundary, now I have to actually create and uphold that boundary. And that feels really scary. The exhaustion makes you feel like you're doing something right, because if you weren't exhausted, what would you make that mean? You'd probably make it mean that you're missing something, that you didn't do it right enough, that you're being lazy, you're not trying hard enough. There's somebody out there who's working harder than you and is doing it much better than you. And here's the thing, setting boundaries from a place of already having energy often makes us feel like I should be giving more. And that boundary shouldn't be there. Who am I to set a boundary when I'm living a pretty good life and when I have energy? And I want you to look at how you're using this in other areas of your life too. Specifically, if you're trying to build a business, or you are a business owner right now or an entrepreneur, are you trying to build it from fatigue and giving more? And then when you create a boundary of, maybe it's a monetary boundary, so you're charging more. When you create a container for your clients to feel safe in as a client, but also so you feel safe in the container as a coach or a business owner, you start to feel bad about that boundary, right? This is the boundary. This is the container you come in. This is what we're doing inside the container. This is how much the container costs. This is how long the container is. This is what we're doing and focusing on in the container. And then somebody might question it and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I am so wrong for creating a container. Let me blur these lines for you so that you feel like you're being more taken care of than me. And what happens is that nobody feels taken care of in that circumstance. The client all of a sudden starts to not feel safe. The client starts to question the container and question you as a coach. And then you also have those same thoughts and feelings. And now the lines are blurred and nobody actually gets the result that they want. When you live in constant exhaustion, you're giving yourself permission to rest. But here's the truth. You don't actually need permission to rest. You don't need to be exhausted in order to rest. Rest and purposeful recovery and resiliency in your body, they're a God-given right. You don't have to earn them. You don't have to be more. You don't have to work harder in order to be able to rest. And it's very likely at some point in your life you were told the opposite. You need to work harder. You need to clock in. You need to get those hours in if you want to be successful. You've got to be the hardest worker in the room. I know that I was told those things, and I still am working on leaving those thoughts and those feelings behind because they don't actually serve me anymore. And this is where the secondary gain is coming from when you are addicted to the hustle and to the exhaustion. It makes you feel like you're doing something right. And if you're doing something right, then you'll be able to receive what you think you deserved to receive. But X does not equal Y in this scenario. That's not how it works anymore. And also, let's talk about the familiar discomfort that might feel safer than the unknown of actually feeling good. This sounds really crazy, right? Why wouldn't I want to feel good in my body? But many times when we stay in the comfort of not feeling good in our body, it's actually very familiar. Our body loves familiarity, even if it's uncomfortable. Your body and your mind will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And if you've been struggling with fatigue, hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, sleep problems, anxiety, brain fog, all those things that I help you heal, many times it's already your safe haven. You already know how to feel this way. And when we think about feeling really good, although that sounds exciting and it sounds like something we want, many times we prevent ourselves from actually going all the way because we don't actually know how to maintain feeling good all the time. And here's something that's really important. It's very likely that you realize your body's malnourished by this point. You might be new to me, and maybe this is something that you haven't heard me say before, but you've probably heard me say this. You need to eat more as a woman, and that your body needs more food. But sometimes that comes with the fear of your body changing size and the fear of what we make that mean about us. So what we do is we choose to live with the fatigue, the hormone imbalances, the digestive issues, the sleep problems, and the brain fog because we're so afraid of our body getting bigger, or we're afraid of gaining weight or having more body fat. And when in fact, many times that's what needs to happen in order to heal our body, but we choose to have a smaller body at the expense of these symptoms. I want you to take a really hard look at what I just said. And is this true for you? This is diet culture at its finest, convincing us that staying small is more important than feeling good. That being a certain size means having more energy to show up for our business, our family, and our lives. You've probably had times in your life where all of a sudden your energy was probably pretty good. Your digestion was good. You felt good, but maybe you weren't able to maintain it. And then it went away and you actually felt worse because you had something and you lost it. And you were afraid of having something and losing it all over again. We can use this when it comes to talking about our body and healing our body, but we can also use it in the same way of maybe building a business, creating more money. Maybe we did those things in the past and we lost some of it. Or maybe we're just really fearful of building something and losing it. And we can also use this in looking at other areas of our career if you're not building a business, or also our family or our relationships. Are you afraid of losing something that would be really amazing and the feeling of failure that comes along with it? Or are you afraid of not being able to maintain success? So I want you to consider that your body issues might actually be giving you something, even though they might be taking something away. That's that secondary gain. What are the things that staying where you are is actually giving you? Many times they're giving you the feeling of safety because it's already familiar. Even though that doesn't make sense to our conscious mind, it makes complete sense to our subconscious mind, which we don't always have access to. And this is why I always work with the body and not just the mind. We can't outthink these problems. Your subconscious is in your body. It's living in your body. We have to involve it in the conversation. When we realize that, we can bring the body into the conversation as we're beginning to heal and move forward from exhaustion, hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, so that we can build the life and the business and the career that we want to have. We're bringing the entire body into the conversation to be able to fully heal, because the secondary gain is always living inside of your body. We can't heal the body if we're going to hold on to that secondary gain inside of the body. Does that make sense now? The secondary gain is the fear of not feeling loved. It's the fear of not feeling valued. It's the fear of not being worthy. It's the fear of being seen. It's the fear of losing. It's the fear of being alone. It's always going to be rooted in some sort of fear. And the objective of your nervous system is keeping you safe. And while yes, it does keep you somewhat safe on where you are, because usually where you are is not anything that's going to kill you, right? Being tired isn't going to kill you. Having hormonal imbalances, you can live the rest of your life with that. It's just uncomfortable. Being bloated after every meal, you're probably going to be fine, right? And so that is some sort of safety on staying where you are, but it doesn't allow you to live into your full potential. Living into your full potential requires you to look at that secondary gain that you're holding on to and being willing to eventually let it go. And that's going to come with resistance. And we often make resistance mean I shouldn't be doing this, right? That's another thing of the secondary gain in the subconscious mind. Alert, alert, alert. This is uncomfortable. These are yucky feelings. I don't want to feel these. It's going to come with a whole lot of stuff that's not fun. There's no rainbows, there's no butterflies, and there's no unicorns when you're working on this stuff. But what's on the other side of it You being free. You being free from that secondary gain that has been keeping you stuck on where you are. Now, I want you to understand this from this episode is that secondary gain doesn't mean that your problem isn't real, right? You're not making this up. Your exhaustion is real. Your digestive issues are real. Your hormonal imbalances are real. And there might be part of you that needs the problem right now because it's solving something else. Both can be true. The work isn't to force yourself to change before you're ready. The work is to become aware of what you're getting by staying stuck. So you can make a conscious choice instead of an unconscious one and not being involved in the decisions that your body is making for you. I'm not telling you that you're choosing to stay stuck. I'm inviting you to explore whether part of you might be and helping you understand that it's actually normal. It's a protective human response to fear and to trauma. So here's what I want to ask of you. From this episode, are you really ready to look at what's keeping you stuck? Did something come up for you in this episode that you're like, oh my God, that makes total sense? And maybe it isn't my schedule. Maybe it isn't my circumstances and my kid's soccer schedule, but what's actually happening underneath all of that? If you're building a business, if you're trying to show up for your family, if you're in the middle of your career, you need your body to support you instead of holding you back. And you don't have time to stay stuck in your secondary gain anymore. So if this is you, I want to invite you into a body clarity call with me. On this call, we relieve the confusion around your symptoms and we figure out what to do next so you can start feeling better. You're going to create the energy and the consistency that you need to grow your business, your career, show up fully for your family, and feel at home in your body again. We're going to increase your capacity so that you can do everything that you're here to do in this life. Because here's the thing, your family needs you present. Your kids need you with energy and to actually engage with them and not just survive the day. Your business, your career needs you with all the capacity to build it. And you deserve to feel good in your body while doing it all. So you can go to the show notes and you can schedule a body clarity call with me. And we're going to figure out what's going on, what's holding you back, where that secondary gain actually is so that you can pinpoint it and we can create a plan on moving forward on how you create that energy, how you create that balance, how you create that vitality in your body so you can create everything that you want in this life today. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you next week.